Hello! My name is Nisha, and today we're gonna make this nifty interactive vision board for 2021, and it's free of cost. Now, a vision board is a visualization of your dreams, goals, and desires. It can be really helpful in motivating you and helping you achieve your goals. Making a digital vision board is immediately cost-effective and environmentally friendly. When it comes to using paper, even one piece of paper from the very beginning, cutting down trees to the very end of paper burning and rotting is bad for the environment. That's why having this digital interactive vision board for 2021 is going to level up your game in every way. In order to create this, we use a tool called Adobe XD. Adobe XD is a free tool that designers use to create prototypes for apps and websites. We're just going to be using it to create a vision board. And don't worry, I'll walk you through the process. When I create a vision board, one of the first things I do is try to get into a positive headspace. A few of the ways to get into a positive headspace is to start listening to music you really love. Second is to snack on your favorite food if you're hungry. Third is to be grateful for what you have. There are a lot of ways for you to get into a positive headspace, only you know what's best for you. Once I'm in that positive headspace, the second thing I do is write down my goals and desires for the year. When you're writing down your goals, free yourself from judgment. Don't worry about goals that are too small or too big to achieve. They're yours. If you want them, go get them. Once you have all of your goals written down for 2021, the next thing you do is collect the imagery and the text that you want for your vision board. I usually use Pinterest or Google Images, but you can use anything. If you want to add a frame to your vision board, be sure to pick that out at this time as well. I chose a frame with a transparent background so I can put images underneath. Now, the next step in all of this is the fun part. You actually get to create the board. We're going to be using Adobe XD. I'm going to be walking you through the whole process, but there are going to be resources in the description below if you need additional help. Adobe XD is a software that we're going to need to download. So use this link to access the website and download the software from there. Again, this is free. It should be free of charge. I'm going to walk you through it on my laptop. I have Adobe XD already downloaded. Here it is. To get started, we need to choose the size of our vision board. If you want to access this on your iPad, tablet, or phone, you can choose Adobe's presets. I'm going to stick with the web layout because I want to be able to interact with my vision board whenever I'm on my computer. Before we start, I'm going to give you a warp speed tour of Adobe XD. On the left, toward the top, are tools for you to select or draw objects, create lines or text, and more. On the bottom left are three tiny icons. The middlemost is the Layers panel, and that can help you organize what images go on top or below one another. Now, the right side is a panel to keep an eye on. Options in this panel depend on what tool is selected, and we'll talk about the rest soon enough. I'm just going to quickly save this document by double-clicking on the top center. I also ended up naming the artboard itself in the top right corner the same way. If you go beyond the presets range vertically, you'll see this blue bar pop up. If you'd like a larger canvas, make sure to move that bar to the bottom or else the sizing and appearance of your board is going to get messed up. I'm fine with the presets, so I'm just going to go back to that. To fill up this artboard, we're going to need pictures, of course. The easiest way to add pictures is to drag and drop them from a folder. Kind of like what you do with that dangling man on Google Maps. I added a frame first and resized it for the artboard. To keep the frame from moving as I work, I clicked on the lock button that appears next to the object's name in the Layers panel. Now, I've come across an issue. There's this photo of a circle, but it isn't in the shape of one. To give it that shape, I selected a circle from the left side panel. You can create any shape, a rectangle, a triangle, but I'm going to stick to a circle for now. I aligned it on top of the image to make sure I was getting the size that I wanted. Once done, I selected both the circle and the image under it. Right-clicked and selected Mask with Shape. Voila! We just made a circle out of a square. As you can see, this circle is under the images I laid, but I don't want that. If you don't either, all you need to do is right click. At the bottom, you'll see bring to front, send to back, and other options. You can use these to adjust your layers accordingly. Now, here's the exciting part where we get to make these pictures come to life. Here, I want to make this image on the left change to this quote drawing on the right whenever I click on it. I made sure that they were the right size so that when I click on it, one won't appear larger than the other. I selected the main image I wanted to appear by default, and then I right-clicked and selected Make Component. Now, this component has a default state, or how the image is going to start off. We can add another state. The hover will reveal the new state when we move the mouse on top of it, but I want it to respond to a tap or click, so I'm going to select New State. Let's give it a name. Now we have two different states created. Select Reveal. We'll be changing this state of the component to become the quote image. I cut the image here using Command or Control X. I then selected the component, making sure it's in the reveal state, and I double-clicked the image. I pasted the photo inside and I moved it to be right on top of the image of the girl for a smooth transition. I deleted the photo of the girl under. Here I'm just trying to make sure everything matches up. And now we get to animate it. I'm in the default state now. I'm going to hop into the prototype tab. See that blue arrow circle? I'm going to click on it. That little wire that pops up means that it's linked to itself. On the right, you can choose the interactions and actions. I have the trigger set to tap. Now, make sure the destination is to the new state you created. In this case, reveal. You can animate this interactivity by deciding what type of action it is, the animation, the easing, its duration. I'm going to set the action to transition, dissolve, ease out, and a duration of 0.6 seconds. Feel free to experiment here. Once you've set the requirements, go back to the reveal state at the top, click the blue arrow again like previously, and add the necessary requirements. I'm just going to keep the interactions the same. Just be sure to set your destination or it won't work. To test the interactivity, click on the play button in the top right corner. A window will appear and this is your prototype. You can test if your component works by tapping on it. I just wanted to make sure this looked good with the frame on, so I moved the frame to the topmost layer using the layers panel at the right and tested it again. So what's a vision board without text? Honestly, still probably a vision board, but text can take things to the next level. See that big T on the tools panel on the left? I selected it, created a text box by dragging my mouse over the desired area, and typed in whatever I wanted. You can customize the font, its size, color, and everything else on the panel on the right. Play around, see what you like. That text with that background honestly doesn't look that great, so I'm gonna add a blur effect. I created a rectangle to match the size of the photos. Using the panel at the right, on the bottom, I selected background blur. Since the shape is on top of everything, I used the layers panel on the right, selected the rectangle and moved it further below at an appropriate level. You can play around with the blur settings and adjust accordingly. To make managing multiple objects easier, I grouped objects by right-clicking and selecting Group, or Command or Control G. You can also name this group by double-clicking on the file in the Layers panel on the left. Alright, that circle looks really flat among the rest of the photos. We can create shadows to add that layered effect you might see on a physical vision board. You can just create an object that matches the photo in shape and size. Here I just made a circle. Now on the right panel, instead of clicking background blur, you just click add a shadow. I'm just going to group them together now because I don't want anything to move. But as you can see, there's that shadow effect. You can adjust this by changing the color, the opacity of it, the intensity, and the area of the shadow. Play around and see what works for you. Another ability is adding rounded corners. You can just drag the little circles inside the object's corners. To only select one corner, hold Option if you're using a Mac and hold Alt if you're using a Windows computer. Now it's time to save your vision board in places that you'll see it on a daily basis. When you're done with your vision board, hop onto the Shared tab at the top and change the view setting to Presentation. You can also set permissions for this link, but I'm going to keep it at anyone with the link. Click Create Link, and that'll generate a custom URL for your work. Open the link in a browser, and there it is! To make this vision board easily accessible, save this to your bookmarks bar. You can also save this work as an image. Click on File in the top left and hover or select Export. You can choose either selected or all artboards, but I just went with all boards. I suggest PNG, but you can also export this in other formats. Remember, this is not interactive, it'll just show the default, and you can use this picture and save it on your iPhone lock screen or your desktop background. When it comes to creating a vision board, you can go about it however you want. If you don't end up liking this digital interactive version, that's perfectly okay. Or if the steps that I take into developing the vision board isn't how you'd like to go about it, do what makes you comfortable. Whether you followed this tutorial or not, feel free to tag me on Instagram at BetterNiche if you'd like to share your work. You are a champion for sticking all the way through. If you like this and would like to see more content like this, feel free to let me know what you liked about it below. And that is all for today. Stay safe and take care.